Set them. Good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m. Thursday, July 3rd. I will call this meeting of the Board of Harbor Commissioners for the town of LaPointe to order. With us this morning, we have Jay Wiltz. Here. Susan Widmar. Here. Michael Collins. Here. Evan Erickson. Here. Myself, Glenn Carlson.
Here.
Via Zoom, we have Mary Ross.
Here.
Staff present, we have both Lauren and Katie. And also via Zoom, we have Robin and Cal from Mithville. Public present, Paul Brummer. Let's open the floor to public comment.
Question, this morning, plan to have any more evening meetings. I only had one this year, but I thought I was gonna have to try and have one.
I'll make a public comment of wishing crew good luck for the next couple days. It's going to be hectic.
Let's hope. There's no more public comment. Let's move on to the minutes of the 6/12 and 6/26 meetings.
I move we approve the minutes of Thursday, June 12th. Thank you.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm abstaining. I was not present for the meeting.
Okay. Next up, Chief Administrative Officer report.
Yeah, so the current balances of the Harbor Commission bank accounts, this was as of Tuesday, July 1st. The Mithville utility checking account is at $978,304.24. As you can see, our revenue bond, like our reserve savings account, that is at $1,180,527.43. That is where we put the HAP grant money, so that it can accrue some interest and while we're waiting to use it. The June revenue, and this was as of Monday, so the 30th. This does not include parcel hauling, and I've been discussing with Robin. We're actually, UPS is actually a few months behind. As of last week, they did approve all of the invoices, but we're March, April, May. Yeah, we're a few months. We haven't received payment since March from them. So that will definitely help with the revenue. But that's not included in this $786,956.64. That puts us at about just over 88% of the budgeted income for the month.
Katie?
Yes.
Question. So on your bigger spreadsheet,
The percentage for June.
well, yeah, and the actual number is, so you're showing an actual revenue of 657,000.
Yes.
Versus the 786. Did that not include the?
I would go based off of the June report that I have provided in here. I just know, so I ran that year to date. I wanted it to be just for January through May because I did not have all of June's revenue in when I ran that.
Okay.
So no, it's okay. I did it. So I wanted that to be just January through May. So that did not include all of June. The 88% is accurate minus the parcel hauling.
Through all of June.
Yes, and that I did include a June report that has all of June.
Do we know how much we're owed by UPS roughly for the months that they're behind?
I can pull it up for each of those here in just a minute, let you guys know by the end of the meeting, but yes, I can pull that up. Did include the reports for May because we do have May expenses on for today's meeting to be approved. May balance sheet, May budget versus actuals. There are going to be so overall with the areas, the line items that were over, It's, a lot of it is the areas that will definitely even out, just how we have the budget set up, it'll even out throughout the year. There are a couple of line items I'd like to discuss with Robin. Like I noticed like our electric seems significantly over. But I have some highlighted items that I'll be discussing this for. As well as the monthly report from Miffle. I think there might be some more areas that I might request more information. As well, if anybody sees an area that they would like a little bit more information on, please just let me know and I will discuss that with Miffle. Miffle was recently notified that in QuickBooks, they are instituting a per employee monthly fee for payroll. Robin said that this is going to add about an additional $1,000 a year for their QuickBooks charges. I did include Miffle's write-up that they've made for their oversized freight policy. I believe as of yesterday, Robin posted those at the freight building, the ticket booths, and then the office. I have on here June 27th, but she told me yesterday she hadn't gotten to it yet, so I believe she did that yesterday.
Katie, I was gonna put them up this afternoon after the meeting.
Okay.
And that UPS income, I don't know if you figured it out, $29,412.
That's collectively for
Yeah, March,
the months that
April,
we're
May.
missing. Yeah.
Which means we're short year to date on revenue by about,
20.
well,
Yeah.
70,000 for June.
I did ask or request Miffle for some recent incidents, like with the fire suppression system. I did include Cal's write-up for those, if anybody has any questions. Last thing I had on my report is we did have in our cash flow hopes for it at some point in the month of July to pay some part of our debt back off, whether it be the line of credit or the town. Right now, the line of credit's at a 7.5%. We're paying interest, 7.5% interest on that. Just wanted to put that on our radar. We do have quite a bit of bills to pay. That will take a chunk out of that checking account, but I would maybe like to see by the end of July, we have that on as an agenda item to pay off one of those side.
I suggest we do at least the town 300,000.
Okay.
With the interest on that.
Well, I believe if that's the one we're going with, we could probably do that next meeting. Just based on the amounts that we have.
Yeah.
Does the town need the money? I mean, we've got a better rate through them than 7.5.
The 7.5 is what we're paying the bank.
Yeah, the line of credit.
That's the line of credit. How
for the
much is that again?
600,000.
That's 600,000.
What's the town interest rate?
5%.
Oh,
Well, the town isn't in distress. Yeah, we could probably defer that till August, and then maybe try to pay 300, 400,000 on the line of credit, the bank.
I have a question regarding the fire suppression. It says you can do it in-house with an expenditure of about almost 7,000 in equipment. What would it cost for them just to come and recharge it?
So it's that, I mean, that is essentially, so it's canisters. So we replace the canisters in-house, right? So we wire them up, we do it. So to have them come and do it would probably add in probably another 3,000, 2,000, somewhere in there to have them come and install them themselves.
Okay.
But we installed them in the first place. So we have the experience in-house. We were the ones that actually installed the whole system. They just come in and sign off on it, make sure that it's working properly and ready to go.
So I take it that people weren't trained on what to hang near that switch.
I'm sorry, what?
I take it that staff crew did not get training as to the sensitivity of that switch for the fire suppression activation.
From, what I've gathered on the situation was that they have a backpack that was underneath it. And when they lifted the backpack, it caught the outer switch and then the inner switch. So in the, couple years now that it's been on, that's the first time that's happened. It has raised the outer switch before. It's never gotten both. So yeah, that's where we will be changing the switch and relocating the switch so that that can't happen again. We're not going to make it, too difficult to actuate or too far out of the way, but just so that particular situation can't happen, so that it's bag proof, hopefully.
Thank you.
Cal, I have a question. Does the Coast Guard need to have the Coast Guard signed off on the installation of the fire suppressor system?
So the Coast Guard has been notified about it at every level, from the safety center to local, and every level at local. There's one component of the fire suppression system that, so let's just say it's 100 components. There's one component that is ABS approved, is Lloyd's approved, is UL approved, which are all approval agencies that are more stringent than the Coast Guard. Typically, the Coast Guard defaults to those agencies for approval. However, we are Coast Guard inspected, not ABS or Lloyd's. We're not classed. And that one particular component is not approved. So I've been working with the Coast Guard over the last 2 years on getting that component approved with mixed results. Ultimately, I can't run the fire detection component of the system without the fire suppression component of the system. If I run the detection exclusively, it alarms. It says, okay, your detection is online, but your suppression is not online, and it'll generate an alarm. So I have to run both. So to answer your question, it is, the Coast Guard has said that it is not, that component of the system is not approved. We can have it on board the vessel, and ultimately the local unit has said, turn it on and run it, because we are not required to have it, but it is an increased level of safety. They don't understand the bureaucracy of why the military or the Marine Safety Center would say no, but that's essentially where we're at. It's a long ongoing battle that this stuff takes time. So ultimately, we're in a safer position to have it on and running than not on. But no, it is not on paper approved because of that one component.
So do you have redundant fire suppression systems now, or how do you stay compliant with?
We're compliant because we're not required to have it.
What chemical is used in the fire suppression system, and does it cause any harm to the components in the engine room when it goes off?
No. So that's the reason that we have this agent in there. It is safe for occupied spaces. So it's a potassium aerosol. So it works by breaking the chain reaction in the fire tetrahedron. It does not work by displacing oxygen. It doesn't smother the fire. It breaks the chain reaction. So it is a potassium aerosol based fire extinguishing agent. It's the same thing that's in the grenades that you're familiar with in the wheelhouse. It's the same compound. That compound is, of course, again, Coast Guard approved. It is an acceptable compound to have in onboard vessels. There's no issue with the compound. It is, again, safe for, in theory, you could be in the room when it goes off and you're not going to have any ill effects. It is non-corrosive. And so it's just a powder that ultimately has to get cleaned up when it goes off. That is specifically why we have it. That is why I'm pushing for it, in all the vessels. Unlike potassium, what is on the LaPointe, the FM200 system, which is an approved system, if it does go off, it is odorless. You can't see it. That is why it cannot be automatic, is because if it were to go off in the middle of the night and a crew member were to walk down in the morning, they could suffocate because it does displace oxygen. It is a lot safer than halon, but it's a halon derivative, which is a nerve agent. That is why they got rid of halon. So of all of the fire suppression systems, it's essentially non-damaging to humans and it's non-damaging to equipment. There is no other fire suppression tool on the market that can claim both.
Fire suppression questions, you should get it on the agenda. You should get it as an agenda item.
I guess I had one other question on the parcel hauling or the oversized packaging. If you have an active account with Miffle, are you still required to pay prior to pickup of the parcel? Or is there an opportunity to be like invoiced? Here.
Robin, if you're talking, your mic is muted.
Unmute. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. We're investigating whether or not we can use the PACS, the ticketing computer up in the freight building, and thereby we could add an item to the ticketing program so that the person could pay via credit card or cash or whatever. Otherwise, it's just cash or check. And we are wanting people to pay before they pick up the packages, because there's a number of packages come to people who are here for a limited period of time, don't have an account, etc.
Right, but for those who do have an account,
that's why you would need the ticketing system. You would need the PACS so that you could, if they had an account, you could charge it to their account, or you could use a credit card to pay.
I think I understand.
But there's quite a number of even regular summer residents that don't have an account, because either they're not building, they're not doing any plumbing or electrical work. They might have a MAG card, but they don't have an account, a charge account.
Then I
And
just
we are
got one.
waiting. What we'll probably do is after this meeting, we'll post these things and then we'll give it a week and we'll talk to people when they come in. So there's kind of a grace period.
And then I just got one question on the Madeline. Miffle maintenance crew doesn't do the props in-house anymore?
So yeah, we can do the props in-house. We have the skill, the tools, and the tech. However, doing it in-house, we would have to divert away from the other maintenance that we're already doing. And it would take us 2 to 3 times longer just because they do this a little bit more regularly than us. So it's one of those things that either we could pay to have it done in one day, have the boat back in the water, out of service for one day, which, is our ambulance boat currently, or, we could spend a week and not be able to get done some other maintenance. So yes, we can do it. But due to the kind of the timing of everything, if it was something that we could take the boat out in late fall, yeah, we'd give it a go. But being right before the, July and end of June, it's not really a risk that I think is worth taking.
Anything else, Katie? Or for Katie? Supposed to read, I'll do it at the end. I'll move then that we place Chief Administrative Officer's report on file.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to Big Top Chautauqua late boat update. And I have a public comment that I'd like to read at this time that I missed at the beginning. Hello all. Thank you for adding the discussion of Big Top late boats to the table. I would like to once again voice my support for having at least a few boats this summer for Big Top shows now and into the future. In years past, I understand that Big Top has covered the bill for these late boats and has since stopped this partnership. I also understand budgets are tight. With that said, I think it's still a valuable amenity to offer island visitors and residents in the summer who want to attend a Big Top show. I hope this partnership can be revisited or a creative solution met to sponsor one to a few boats for this purpose. Perhaps this could be an opportunity for the island's Chamber of Commerce to support commerce and promote tourism between Bayfield and the island. I believe it's an important part of the summer culture, and it would be deeply saddening to know that islanders cannot see a Big Top show in July because the last boat is 8 p.m. The sun hasn't even set yet. It has been suggested to me to ask someone to use their boat, share boat, or get taxi service. All are good ideas, but as a service to the island, I think the ferry should step up and fill this role. If anything, to keep morale in the community, in this community, that the ferry service has building community in mind.
Yeah.
Sam Dobson. There were others also, but they weren't asked to be read as into public comment specifically. And this particular request, I believe, is for the evening of July 8th. Is that right?
That was the only two formal requests that we had were for July 8th.
I absolutely agree with Sam's sentiment here, and I wish that we were able to offer these boats at this time, but we just can't afford it. At least in my opinion. Moving forward, if there were a larger group that got together and could prove, could help make the boat at a minimum break even, I would certainly entertain the notion. We, in the partnership with Big Top last year, we paid for on Harbor Commission dime 4 trips.
We paid for 3, I believe. 3,
and then they paid, we kind of split it down the middle with Big Top. But the ridership just wasn't there. I mean, we had 4 cars and a high number was 12 cars and 60 passengers. And some had 0 cars and 4 passengers. So unfortunately at this time, I'm going to move that we.
Unless we had a group of 80 people that said that they would go, I don't see the reason of trying to arrange a special boat.
Well, and that was something that I was sharing on Facebook with people as they questioned whether they were, come through it. If everybody who was going would send in a public comment via the website, we'd have a set of, we'd have a good picture of how many people are.
I know that the Miffle office was also letting folks know that they could reach out to the Harbor Commission
Yeah,
regarding those requests.
Another suggestion for a group of people who want to do Big Top would be maybe contacting the crew service in Bayfield. They can pick up or drop off at the marina dock. That's always an option for a small group.
Did you have a motion?
I was gonna move that we reject the request.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? I will note that it would be awesome if the Chamber of Commerce would step in.
Or if any other group wants to step up and contribute some money for an extra boat, but we don't have the cash flow for it.
Unfortunately, we do not.
And we don't have the numbers.
And then
That's right. The actual demand for it doesn't pay for itself. And that's, if there's somebody could aggregate a boat full, organize that.
With enough lead time, you know, for
Yeah.
for crew to be scheduled and stuff.
Also to be noted that it's the boards and Cal's, I think, objective to have later boats as soon as they can staff it, you know, next summer. I hope that that's our goal. I know that's been discussed.
All right, if there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. On to the Harbor Assistance Program project update.
Okay, so everything's kind of chugging along as anticipated so far. The next milestone is, agenda item 8. So, that's kind of where we're at. You've seen the bids that we've received. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me about the bids, what it means, the companies themselves, anything like that. I'd be happy to answer it. But again, if nobody does have questions, that's where we're at, is accepting the bid, and then we would move forward.
The person or the company potential to win the bid here in item 8, what's their timeline for starting?
So that's listed in the bid contract, right? So the timeline is per the bid contract is to start July 15th and be done by August 19th, again from memory, with a again from memory a $500 a day penalty beyond that.
And then moving forward, do you see these same contractors competing for the dredging portion of this project?
No, I don't believe these contractors have access to, there's one contractor that has access to the equipment to dredge. I would not anticipate the same groups putting in to bid to dredge. I would guess that's going to be a different set of contractors. I do anticipate multiple dredging bids.
Any other update questions? And let's jump into announce bid winner for boat ramp improvements bid.
I would like to make the motion of going with the recommendation of Miffle and Cooper Engineering, approving the bid to Yankee. Is it Yankee? General contract. For the bid amount of $375,000.
I'll second that.
I'll note that it's anticipated that that bid will increase by approximately 5%, which would bring that total up to about $393,750.
Yeah, so if you don't mind if I comment on that,
Please do.
in speaking with them, there's some areas that they did put into the bid. There was some gray areas that they weren't quite sure, because if you look at the bid specs, there's to be coordinated with MIFL, exactly where this piling goes, what structure is going to go here. And from our discussion with them, they said they put into the budget some room to absorb that cost. So there is a good chance that we can stay on budget, or even potentially under, but on budget, let's say. And that's, I just wanted to throw in that 5%. From all of the people that I've called, that is the highest that I've heard them, go over on a project. They have a very good track record of staying on or under budget. But there was one small component that, again, is sort of to be determined, field fitted, I think is the best way to say it, that we anticipated could potentially lead to that. So I wouldn't say that I'm, 100% we're going to be, 20,000 over at this point. However, I think it would be prudent just to make you aware that, that is a possibility at this stage.
So we had a motion and a second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, Miffle on-call employee benefits.
The literature about this. So
There's a write-up in here.
Page worth back, I think, 30 last page.
Someone refresh what that those last two columns on-call housing, what that is.
Oh, that's supposed to say on-call plus housing. That's like the total
Oh, I see.
for it. Sorry, I had to adjust your spreadsheet a little bit, Cal, because it didn't come through all on one page.
Okay, so that's just the.
Yeah, it's supposed to be on-call plus housing.
Got it.
And these numbers are based solely on compensation for full-time captains.
No, this is going to be for all crew. So all captains, regardless of being full-time, part-time, just on call, because we really need to incentivize, being on call, doing more than the minimum. And so this would extend to everybody, anybody who's going to be on call.
We did approve this previously or not?
yeah, we voted.
Approve the housing.
Yes.
We also approved the on-call. I don't know if
I don't
it's.
think, I don't think we did.
We discussed it.
All right, I move that we approve the proposed on-call premiums for captains and deckhands. Captains to $50 a night, including part-time and on-call, and deckhands to $35 a night.
I'll second that.
I need to know more about when is it that they are indeed on call? I mean, do they get to fight it out for who takes the run, or are they scheduled to be on call?
They're scheduled. There's a
Okay,
schedule.
and is it optional for them to take that schedule?
Yeah. They don't force them to be
Yeah.
on call.
Okay, well, that
Unfortunately.
is something I'd like to talk about because I grew up with an airline pilot who had no choice, except to not pick up the phone. So did you're scheduled for standby or, reserve, that's what you do.
I don't know that I want to be in the business of forcing any employee to do anything they're not comfortable with. Cal has something. Go ahead.
So, and then I'd love to comment on that. And then before I do, circle back to make sure that we're including the trailer benefit. I don't know if that came through on your documents, but is that on there?
For that page too.
Yeah, it's on there.
And again, the trailer benefit, the asterisk to that is that the trailer would only go free if it is not displacing a paying customer. And then to comment on that is, this is, we're, yes, I don't want to force people to take shifts. I want to incentivize them, hey, cover the shift. Here's your pay for doing so. I can tell you from speaking with almost everybody that's on our emergency response team, I'm on almost every night myself from the Bayfield side to deal with police, Excel, just about anything that falls through the cracks. It's a pretty big burden to our crew. It's a pretty big stress. They take it very seriously. It disrupts their sleep. It disrupts their private lives. And I think they should be compensated for it. I think if we start, messing with that too much, it'll be very quick that we just won't have it. I mean, that is why I'm proposing this. I'm not here saying, let's increase these benefits because everything's going so smooth and let's make it better for them. I'm increasing the benefits because one night a week, we are currently running EMS out of Bayfield. That is not a spot that I want to be in. And the crew that's running it will both no longer be living in Bayfield in the coming month. One has already left Bayfield, actually. She's living in Washburn. So we are at a point where, we could force them to do it, but I can guarantee you I've got several people that will just say, no, that I'm not doing this.
You can shift the incentives so that they get paid a nice piece being on call, and then a little bit more if there is a run.
That's what they're proposing.
If there is a run, it's $100 plus 2-hour minimum.
But if there isn't,
Then it's the
Yes.
50 a night, 35 a night.
Go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, Cal, just one question. I don't really challenge the on-call change. I think, we have to give you the resources to be able to staff the boats. However, I am curious about why we need to give free trailer to crew. That sounds like that is an extra benefit and not really necessarily an incentive type of thing.
Yeah, so I'll comment on that directly. I have a EMS captain that runs 2 days a week right now that, it was a unwritten rule that, even though it wasn't written in that captains on the island got trailers free when it was owned by, privately, that was the case. They got trailers free, if they were the operator of them. Since the town has taken over, that was an unwritten rule. I have been very strictly enforcing two components. One, if it's supposed to be for work, you're not supposed to get it free, which is something I would like to get rid of as well, because there is no clear way to determine if it's for work or not. So I want to get rid of that rule. And then this captain that I'm speaking about specifically has said, if I don't get the trailer, that was a huge benefit to me. That made it worth it to me. I don't want to be doing this anymore. So that wasn't something I came up with as an additional incentive. That was feedback that I got from one specific island captain who, again, covers 2 days a week. Another island captain said, yes, that would be very beneficial to them. They feel that would go a long way. And again, creating an additional non-cost, non-monetary value to them to, be able to bring their trailer over. And then again, I'm sure Evan, won't comment on it just because of his position. But again, even for Evan, I mean, if I'm able to say, hey, Evan, you're an islander, you can go back and forth for free. If you're bringing your trailer, it's free. That makes this incentive for him that much more valuable. And he's going to show up. And that's really what it's after. What can I do to find incentives to show up? Now, money is definitely one of them, and I think we're there. But this was one that was seen as a essentially little to no cost, so long as we're enforcing it properly. That had a huge gain for the island staff. So that's where it came from for me. They requested it specifically, and I said, hey, well, what if we did it in this fashion? What if we made it so that so long as it's an empty space on the boat, you're not paying for it. But if you're in line on the 4th of July, you're going to have to pay for it. And I felt that that was a middle ground to meet there.
Cal, can we
Can
carve that out? And I would like to ask if anyone at Miffle LLC has consulted with your accountants to see whether or not that would be taxable income to the employees, or whether it would fall within the definition of a no additional cost service. And those rules are pretty strict. So before I would give the go ahead on that, I'd like to know if Miffle has consulted with a tax professional.
Definitely. And I think that, I mean, that outcome will extend to the vehicle and the gratis pass. You know, that I think it would be kind of all the same. So, you know, we can definitely answer.
No, it's not the same. Because
I'm sorry, you're talking about the trailer specifically, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because passenger, they can, as an employee, they're allowed free passage. Okay, but there's nothing that says that they can, you know, bring over a trailer that they use for their own trade or business.
This is Robin. We've not checked with an accountant.
Yes, and so I mean, but it's the same with the vehicle is where I guess I'm getting at is, and we can look into that. Not disputing that, but the vehicle would be the same thing. You know, if you're going over.
If you could check with your accountant, that would give us, I think, some more comfort on this.
That sounds like a good idea. I appreciate that insight. So we're shelving the trailer discussion for another time until we can get back to you with results from an accountant. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Do we need to make a motion? We already voted. Right?
We have a motion on the on-call amounts.
Right.
In a second.
And for clarification, we are free to go ahead and vote on that, but we're going to sort of table the trailer
Right.
Yeah.
inclusion, or do we table the entire?
I did not mention the trailer in my motion.
Okay. We want to table the entire thing until we hear back,
No.
or are you comfortable passing it in?
No,
Let's go forward.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll definitely look into the trailer component and make sure we kind of cover it on many angles as we can.
Guess I'll call the vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Opposed?
I'm opposed.
Carries. Next up, spring auction updates.
Needless to say, the auction, I would say overall was disappointing. For the Harbor Commission, the bridge truck did not get anywhere near even what it went for last fall. I think it hit around $4,000. I don't know if that's a sign that the economy's slowing down or what. One suggestion I've made in the past is that we start making use of the vehicle, whether it's Miffle using it for freight, at the recycling center. It could be used every once in a while for hauling materials, but I think we gotta look at making use of the vehicle rather than just having it sit. I have to put a new battery in it because the battery that's in it froze over the winter because it discharged. So yeah, other than that, the white Chevy for GMC that was traded to the Harbor Commission for the red GMC last year, that sold for a little over $500. And one of the desks sold for like $5 or $10. And we'll be seeing, I think, a check coming in here this upcoming week.
Well, I like the notion of trying to utilize that truck rather than having it sit there. I don't know if Cal has thoughts on that, but I think it's a topic we could revisit at a later date.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I would love to show you. I'd have to coordinate with Katie and Robin and our freight crew, but you know, I can show you. Robin just sent me some photos, and you know, yesterday I offloaded 5 massive pallets of freight. You know, so luckily it was all under our ability to lift it with the forklift, but it filled up essentially three trucks full, and the van was packed from floor to ceiling with freight packages. So I definitely think, you know, I'd have to coordinate with them, but I think there'd be some use just as a box truck.
Well, just reach out to me if you guys want to come get it. It's at the recycling center. I still got to put the battery in it, and one tire is low, but you guys can come get it anytime.
Okay. Thank you.
Move on then to school student transportation summer protocol.
You have to say that it's disappointing what some of the crew had to deal with. Reading one email.
Yeah, I agree. We had discussed in our strategic planning session this a little bit, and what would the notion of having like a screenshot of an ID on a student or an island kid's cell phone and being able to present that to the ticket taker rather than having to carry the laminated card everywhere? Because none of them leave house without their phone anyway.
It's just during the summer too.
But
Do we talk about just during the summer or for?
I think year round it could work, but we'll start with the immediate need, which is summer.
But that would allow them to share that screenshot too. It's not the physical.
No, it'd have their picture. It would have a picture.
Well,
of
they
the
have a
person.
picture, but they could share that photo with somebody else. And we've still had people
You would
coming up to
compare the
Bayfield and saying,
photo
I'm a
to their
student.
face.
It's like your driver's license. It has your picture and your name.
Yeah, well, we don't have pictures on there now.
They would have a photo on their phone with their ID, and then that would match to their face.
Yeah, but the ID doesn't match their face.
Yeah, but the photo would.
There would
So,
be
I mean,
on their
But
phone. they
that
would
would
have-
mean the ticket seller would have to know who they are, and they don't know who they are.
They would just match the photo to their face.
But there's no photo.
They would take the photo on their phone with their laminated card. So they would have, here's me
Here's
with my card.
Still same name on both things.
Yeah,
It'd have to be the same name on both things.
sure.
Yeah.
Can definitely be done. That's how we use IDs everywhere.
yeah, I mean, I think that's where we're coming at is, you know, yeah, we just need some better solutions, you know, some new solutions. And I think that's kind of what we're saying here is we're trying to follow the rules, but we need some more, you know, room here, but we're also trying to, again, make sure that we're capturing the right people. So I feel like that's
This is that kind of thing. This is like that kind of compromise that we can do something that makes this easier and more user-friendly, and we still get the same outcome.
Okay,
Yeah.
one of the problems is when they ticket, they will take that pass, you know, the physical pass up to the pilot house because they need to get the boat out on time. Okay, and so you wouldn't have that photo up in the pilot house to match it to their name on the
That would be more of a school time protocol though, right? Like in the summer, they're gonna walk up to the ticket booth, get a boarding pass, and then get on the boat like anyone else would.
correct. Yes, that would be a more during school time problem when you've got, you know, if 20 kids came up with their phones, you know, we're back to making, you know, a ticket on the ramp, which that was the idea behind the pass, was if we grab the pass, they can get on, so they're not delayed. They get that on and off sort of treatment. But yeah, I think in the summer it would be all the same for, you know, anybody.
Well, it sounds like a good solution to me. And, you know, actually, I'm more troubled by the response you got from the parent. And I would just say, in the future, refuse service.
So that's something that we take very, very seriously. And I just want to go on, you know, like really on the record that refusing service to an Islander, you know, the day I do that, the day our staff does that, you know, we're going to have a meeting here because they're going to show up and they're going to be like, how do I get home? You know, how do I deal with, you know, it's going to blow up really big. So we definitely know that, you know, we don't find it acceptably treated like that. You know, it might lead to that, but we are, I mean, that is the point of this discussion, is to say, well, how can we find ways to de-escalate? How can we find ways to make this easier? But yeah, I just want to go on the record saying that, yeah, it might lead to that someday, because there have been interactions where, you know, we have, you know, minors, not that that makes that much of a difference, but we, you know, this is their first job and they're getting, you know, kind of berated pretty intensely on the dock. So I appreciate that support. And I just want to, again, share, we don't take that lightly. We're we're definitely trying to avoid that situation.
Well, I think maybe in some sort of letter that if a parent or even the child acts like this towards a ticket seller, then they just lose the free passenger fare for life, and
Or for a set
or
period of
for a
time.
set period of time. But this is a benefit to the parents and kids, and to act like that, just there should be a zero tolerance for that.
And I'm happy to send out a letter to the parents, you know, asking for improved cooperation and letting them know that what behaviors are expected, what will and what won't be tolerated.
And would this parent expect to board a plane if they had demonstrated that same behavior at boarding gate?
I mean, that's the kind of the great question. I mean, we get that problem all the time where, you know, we're yelled at, you know, we get kind of shot down, and, you know, we try to just get people over there because you know, there isn't Spirit, there isn't Delta, there isn't American. You know, they don't have a lot of other options. So we do our best, but yeah, to have some tools. And really the big thing we're looking for here is the support of the Harbor Commission, because that was their, you know, that's the leg they were standing on, is that, hey, it's MIFL. You guys are doing this to us. The Harbor Commission told us X. We don't have to comply with what you say because this is what the Harbor Commission told us. And where we're coming from is, no, we're doing as the Harbor Commission told us as well. You know, we have an understanding of how we're supposed to collect and enforce. So it puts us in a tough spot. So that's really what we're looking for, is that, you know, united front, I guess. And then, yes, if you, I appreciate the support and understanding that, you know, we don't feel that we have to be treated like that just because we are the only service.
I think it may also be worth revisiting the pass design and maybe including a photo on it. You know, even if we don't have to have them printed or laminated, as long as there were a digital file of the kid's picture with their name on it that they could present the photo of.
It's doable.
Yeah.
You know, if it makes it easier.
And
But I
just a
would-
comment, this is Robin. I did charge Tyler for that, the child going back and forth. I put it on his charge account.
Good. That was what we directed you to do, so I'll stand behind it.
I like Evan's suggestion that they risk the free passage for their student in the summer if they can, you know, if they conduct themselves that way.
We appreciate that support.
So,
Zach, could I say something?
please do.
Katie put together, she'd looked at the last meeting and put together what our understanding was. The students have to pay for bikes, scooters, mopeds, or a vehicle. That's what was said at the meeting. Is that still true?
I believe that's what we decided at the last meeting when
That was two meetings ago. That paperwork's not included. Here's the email.
yeah, they have to
Because-
pay for bikes.
Yeah.
Okay, because that will, because I don't know how many kids are carrying money around in their wallet to pay for a bike. And a lot of them take their bikes.
I'm okay with them bringing their bikes, but that's just my opinion.
And I mean, my take on this is just, again, with this particular group of kids, when somebody takes a cart on the boat, which is free, that takes up more space than a bike. So if we were to throw that extended, say, hey, it takes up the space, less space than a cart. They're already free. You're a kid. That's their means of getting around. I mean, that would just be my take on it. That I don't think it would be
I mean, a bike takes up zero space.
Yeah.
I think we can extend the benefit to a
Yeah,
bicycle.
the bike seems okay.
Thank you.
And then do you guys want to draft a letter, or would you prefer that we draft a letter to go out to parents?
Why don't we put something together, or Leanne is a good one at editing, and then it should come from the Harbor Commission though.
It should, yes, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then that means that we draft a letter, we send it out, the parent or somebody has to come in and get the pass. And then they have to do the photo thing.
Okay. I think we need a motion for anything there, do we? Unless we want to move to include the bicycle for the students.
That would have to be in it.
What's in the summer protocol?
Yeah, the bicycle is just part of the summer protocol, or is that year round?
I don't know why it wouldn't be year round.
Yeah, if they want to ride their bikes to school,
Sure.
the school allows it.
Yeah.
I don't,
Robin, I think it's just important to note that when we do the communication to the parents, that this is all in an effort to make this as easy as possible for the student, but still make sure that we're only having students have the free ridership. So we're gonna,
and it'll
Trying to make it
come to us before it gets mailed out.
Yeah,
Right.
we will send it to you. Thanks. That's good input.
I guess we'll move on then to approval of bills unless there's anything else under the student transportation protocol.
I'll move the approval of bills.
Want to read the amounts up?
Oh, sure. 5,000 to Baker Tilly for progress billing on the 2024 financial audit, and $343,627.16 to Miffle for June payroll, April credit card, and May expenses.
I'll second.
Do we want to do this one separately or should we add it in? We have the $500 to Kevin Strandberg.
Okay, I will add the $500 to Kevin Strandberg for strategic planning.
I'll duly second.
Any discussion?
How much longer are we paying the $3,000 to Batesville Wireless?
The last payment is in July, so this month, and I did discuss that with Robin, that even if it's looking like they do need additional technical support before any other major contracts are signed, she spoke with the Harbor Commission first. And I did discuss all of your sticky notes with her. There's quite a few on there that is a concern, like, hey, maybe the town could have done this, maybe somebody for the town could have done this. I did just remind Robin that they're always, I mean, the town is busy, but please, if it's something that they might be able to do, always ask first before hiring somebody else out to do it, as well as equipment. If it's like a major purchase that the town might already have that like piece of equipment, please ask the town to use it first before purchasing those items.
Yeah. Gotta keep expenditures as low as we can.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your sticky notes, Evan.
Yeah.
Do Do we need to buy you some sticky notes?
I steal them from
You
Dorjean.
do, okay.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Future agenda items? Oh, go ahead, Cal.
I would like to revisit, I believe I'll have all of the quotes in, but Ray came over and we took a look at the herring shed. And we got some quotes from some contractors. It didn't sound like it was something that was in the town's wheelhouse necessarily. That was kind of the take I got from it. The repairs are, I don't know if he did a report for the Harbor Commission yet. It would have been over a week ago that he came over, maybe even a little bit longer than that. But the damage was a bit more extensive than even previously thought. So, I'd like to add that at least to the next agenda, that I can bring forward some quotes. And if Ray does have any recommendations, or the town does, that we can discuss that, just so we're repairing it before damage continues.
Got that, Lauren?
Got it. I know Ray, he had to deal with some personal issues, and then too, he's been swamped with parks the last couple of days, so that's probably why we didn't get anything from him.
And the other thing I have was possibly paying off one of those, either the line of credit or the town. You guys decided on the line of credit.
The trailer benefit for emergency on-call captains.
And approving a letter to the parents.
And then when do we want to meet?
I hope maybe we could go 2 weeks.
It'd be July 17th.
Well, I won't have any major bills before then. And I will say, Glenn, Zach, and myself might be meeting with Robin and Cal next Wednesday at 10:30 to discuss the ridership and the budget. Just basically where we were at through the weekend. And then that would give us time to have like an additional budget committee meeting if we wanted to before the next meeting.
So 2 weeks out.
Is that Affordable Housing Committee night again? Okay.
They meet third Thursday.
Well, let's say 9 o'clock for now then.
This is
Public
Mary.
comment?
This is Mary. Is there any way we could move the meeting night then and be able to have it at night? Thursday mornings aren't the best for me. And if we could have just one meeting a month in the morning and the other one in the evening, like we had talked about.
Well, how about the Monday, the 14th at 4:30?
Works for me.
I think I'm
Katie and Glenn, does that give you enough time with your meeting about financial stuff with Robin and Cal?
We should also check room availability here. I know they have various.
But I don't, most things don't happen on a Monday here. Yeah.
Over the weekend.
Right. He's checking the calendar. And so then you want that meeting at 4:30?
That's in place of the 17th.
Yeah. Does that work for everyone? At 4:30?
Yep.
Right, so be it.
Thank you.
That Bastille Day.
Yes, 14th.
Sure is.
I won't be able to come, but I can give the letters to Katie.
Okay.
Next up is public comment B.
I would hope that whatever the first refrigerator truck costs, not the second one, the first, that said cost will be billed to the same added emphasis business that so desperately needs.
Moving on to a review of the Miffle management contract.
I'll move we go into closed session under 19.851E, deliberating, negotiating, the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and that is for the review of the Miffle management contract.
I'll second, I guess. Roll call vote, Jay Wiltz,
Okay.
Whitmar,
Yes.
Aye.
I'm an aye.
Aye.
Glenn, Mary,
Aye.